Good evening, Pittsburgh sports fans, and welcome to the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. I've got a full panel of guys tonight. Uh, Joining me is Keith Barnes, freelance writer for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, uh, Edward, the mighty Quinn, JR, and myself. How we doing tonight, gentlemen?
Excellent, sir.
Good.
Doing well.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Excellent. Smart ass.
Smart ass.
I'm gonna get him.
All right. A lot of topics to cover tonight, everybody. I mean, we're going to go Steelers heavy tonight. Lots to talk about. I mean, this first week of camp, way different from what we've seen with Tomlin. I mean, obviously, it's a completely different regime. But just some things that I don't know. I mean, I think McCarthy knows how to coach. I mean, and I'm not saying Mike Tomlin, didn't know how to coach. I think maybe the whole philosophy kind of went stale in the 19 years. But I'm liking what I'm seeing and hearing from camp. And I follow it every day. Like Steelers Nation Radio, I know I'm plugging these guys, but I mean, they do a hell of a job. I mean, it's like literally listening to a game. They critique everything. They're doing 2-minute drill. They're doing goal line. I mean, it's just like it's actually like a radio broadcast that you would hear of an actual game. And I tell you what, they do a hell of a job. But I've been following it closely, and there's a lot. I don't know. There's a lot that I want to talk about tonight, or that we want to get into tonight. But let's first talk some contract stuff. So, Keanu Benton and Porter Jr. You know, we've been talking about this now for a little while. I mean, I think the consensus, gentlemen, is that this Joey Porter pup list designation is, maybe not an injury after all. Maybe it's just a way to say, you know what, I really don't feel like talking to the media. Keith, I'm going to start with you, Keith. What's your take on that? I mean, we're hearing that it's just, I mean, first of all, you can't verify a tweak back. You can't do an MRI on a tweak back. So, I mean, from that standpoint, you can't verify it. So, what's your take on it, Keith?
I think it's putting him on the PUP list is an easy way of having to hold him without having to hold him. I mean, you look at what TJ Watt went through, and he did his hold in and all the constant questions, everything he had to deal with. This way, Joey Porter Jr. can kind of stay trained, do his thing, hold out a little bit until he's quote unquote ready, or until he signs his contract, until he feels he's gotten his respect from the team and kind of gotten a feel for what they're going to do with him. I think it's a good idea on his part. It keeps him away from the big questions and constantly answering, well, when are you going to decide to play? When are you going to decide to play? Or when are you going to be healthy enough to play? Or whatever. Keeps him focused on what he needs. Training goes, and the media bay, and keeps all the outside noise. It's a smart move.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's what I said. And you know what? I said this before. If the Steelers are in on this, they're going to sign him. No doubt about it. If they're in on this in any, and that very might be the case. I mean, I don't know. From what I understand, Mike McCarthy's policy on injured players that are on the PUP list is they don't have to address the media. Mm-hmm. So, in essence, that's kind of like saying, hey, you know what? We're not talking about this contract situation right now because the media, Keith, you're a part of it. The media is going to bombard him with questions. They're going to want to know, 6 ways to Sunday. They're going to know when this deal is going to be getting done, why it hasn't been gotten done, and what he hopes to gain from it. So,
like I said, I go back to the TJ Watt situation. That's exactly what happened with him. It was a constant barrage of questions. Every time he turned around, he's like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm holding in. He just didn't want to deal with it. And this is an easy way for the Steelers to say, we're done with this. We don't have to deal with it. We don't have to talk about it. Joey doesn't have to talk about it. He can just train and get ready for the season and do his preparation. And when he's ready to come off the PUP list and ready to talk to the media and or has signed his contract extension, then he can talk about it.
Right. Jr. What do you think? I mean, and you know, I know we talked a little bit about this, last week, but we didn't really go in depth. I mean, what's your take on it?
It is good, like Heath. I mean, I agree. I mean, it has to be good for, like he said, it's good for everyone, right? It's just a good thing.
Right.
It's good to just new guy, new coaching staff, new everything. Why start out on a bad foot? We can all just, it just stops all the questions. I mean, I was talking, I see Denzel Ward signing for 31 million a year and all that stuff. So and everything keeps getting higher and higher. So I'm sure those questions will get more intense as they get to be asked, because no one wants to pay Joey Porter Jr. 35 million a year, I guess, or whatever the next step is for Witherspoon and the next guy. So I think it's a great thing that you can do for the Steelers organization to just say, look, we're not going to talk about this now. Let Porter get himself ready to go. They're going to have to talk about it. Obviously, it's coming. There's no doubt. I mean, he's going to come off the PUP list soon, and they are going to talk. They will, because the more these guys keep signing, right? Gonzalez is going to sign. It's all the table's going to be set here soon, and he'll be the only guy standing.
Well, and I think that unfortunately, when it comes to a general manager, the old saying of "things come to those who wait" doesn't apply to a general manager, because here's the deal: the longer you wait, the more you're going to be paying. And right now, as the situation stands, that average salary for corners is going up because of the recent top market deals across the league, the Sauce Gardners, the Trent McDuffies, and it's just, I mean, hey, the guy had comparable stats to those guys last year, and really, I mean, he was terrible. His first year in the league was just the most penalized corner in the league, and he really cleaned it up last year. But that's only 1 year, and I've said that before. If it were me, it's not my money; it's the Rooney's money. But if it were my money, I would have a lot of reservations with signing him for that kind of money. I need to see more.
But think about if he has another. Well, it'll be a huge. You might get a break here. Think about if he has another great year. You'd have him on the cheap. You'd get him cheap if you sign him right now for about 28. When you look at things, if he had a second good year, I mean, he'd be taking a hell of a risk. Some teams do that though in all sports, right? They think about, okay, let's do this now, because if I wait, I mean, the Blue Jays did it with Vlad Guerrero. He's terrible, but he had to sign him at 500 million. If they'd have waited till after the World Series, it'd been 700. So, so it's a tough one. It's a good point about GMs, Bill. I mean,
Ed, I pretty much know what your take is, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So I know you were kind of animated about this last week.
Well, you have to live in reality, right? The number one most important position in this sport is quarterback. They don't have one, and never has a defensive back won a Super Bowl. It doesn't happen. I mean, Neil O'Donnell gave the game right to Larry Brown. That's the only reason that cornerback was famous. There's no way you can pay this kid at all, period. Let the market set the value. And if it's too much, oh well, walk away. I mean, that would be over $400 million in 4 players. And they're not worth $400 million. He's not McDuffie. He's not Witherspoon. He's not Gonzalez. He's not Sauce Gardner. I mean, keep going and going. He's just not that good. Let the market set the value. And if they want to pay after that, that's on them. But they have $5.67 million right now. It means you have to open every single contract that you just did. And now you've taken money from people. And oh, by the way, you still don't have a quarterback.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, hey, that's a lot of money invested into 4 guys. I agree, and that's that's poor management, in my opinion. That's just not. I mean, hey, this defense has been the highest paid defense for the last 5 years.
Something like
and
that.
You're not. The production isn't there for being the highest paid defense. No, it's just not there. And I mean, we've. By the way, I'm trying to adjust your guys' microphones to try and cancel out this echo cancellation. I have the echo cancellation checked. I don't know. I don't know what the hell is going on here.
You should probably just uncheck it.
Huh?
Just uncheck it.
Okay, can I uncheck it?
Oh,
Nope, that's where we're at.
StreamYard.
Yeah. Great idea, Ed.
You gotta try something.
Great idea, Ed. You're just full of ideas today.
All day, baby.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's move on to Keanu Benton. Another contract guy. A little bit different situation with him, right? Um, what do you think? I mean, talks have been going on. You know, I mean, my thing about him is he's he's just like kind of like right there, right? You don't know really what you have with Benton yet. I mean, it's just kind of like I don't know. What's your guys' take on the whole thing? Ed, start us off.
It's a totally different price point. You need depth on the defensive line. I'm just gonna look what his comps are. His market value is never mind. They have 27.5 million, which is outrageous.
Yeah.
I mean, nowhere you're going to get the guy for 10 to 14 million.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I mean, you need the depth. He's not really shown what he is. We're going into year 4. I don't know.
Well, that's my point. He's not. I haven't seen. He hasn't done enough for me to be like, hey, this guy is worth signing. This guy's, it just hasn't. I mean, I don't know. I will say Joey Porter Jr. I mean, we're comparing these guys. These were the main topics of our contract discussions that we're talking tonight. At least Joey Porter Jr. He had a good year last year. Keanu Benton has just, to me, he's just been kind of inconsistent, and I don't know. Keith, what do you think about Keanu Benton?
I think Keanu Benton's a plug and play guy. You can plug him in, or you can play him, and you can plug in somebody else in his spot, and you won't miss a trick. He's not a top end guy. He's not.
Right.
I don't even know if he's a starter on half the teams in the NFL. So
Right.
why are you going to spend double-digit millions on this guy when you can use a draft pick, you can use a free agent, you can use a lot of other ways to fill his slot? To me, unless he turns into Reggie White overnight, he is not worth signing. He's not worth worrying about. If he wants to walk today, bye. Take your stuff and go.
Right. Yeah. JR, what's your take?
I mean, I read today that they were going to try to move him around, let him play different spots, play like real defensive end on the 3-4, do some things. I mean, he's 25. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I have to agree with everybody what you're all saying. But I mean, maybe they give him a shot. Maybe he does move around. Maybe things are different. I mean, different defensive coordinator, and he can find himself a home somewhere.
Right.
I mean, maybe this will be a springboard for him this year here in Pittsburgh for him. But do you know what I mean? He's only 25, so somewhere someone's going to want him. It's just not here at this price, I guess, because the contracts are so bad.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there's just. I don't know. They've got some tough decisions to make. There's no doubt about it. I mean, there's some tough decisions to make. So, all right, let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about Broderick Jones. So, the whole thing with him is, been fully cleared to return to practice. He avoided the PUP list. Had that serious neck injury last November. Had spinal fusion surgery. That just doesn't sound good. But he's been getting some reps in camp here with the second team offense at both tackle spots. So they've been kind of seeing where he's at. Mark McCarthy. I know they asked him the other day about his about where he's at right now, and he basically said, hey, he's gradually ramping up in his conditioning. That's why we've been running him with the second team offense. He's been in both tackle positions. And, this is this injury was an 8-month recovery for this fusion surgery, and, now he's got no limitations. They interviewed him. He said, hey, I've got full optimism. I want to return to football shape and reclaim this starting role. I don't know that that's going to happen. Okay, I just don't know if that's going to happen at this point in time, judging by just his his performance last year. Before he got hurt. I mean, there was just a lot of there was just I think the swinging saloon door was kind of like how I refused or kind of so I don't know. I mean, I just they didn't give him the 50-year option, so that should tell you some things. But Jr. Start us off. What do you think about Broderick Jones?
I think it's huge. Well, huge year, enormous year for
Yeah.
himself, career-wise, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of
Right.
incentive. It's good news to hear that he's feeling. I mean, it's good news for the Steelers. Good news for everybody. I mean, I guess if he maybe is healthy and can get it, you know what I mean? 'Cause you can always need it. You need guys. You need backups for now. They didn't get the 5th year, so I mean, another guy. I mean, I'm guessing this season maybe will get him somewhere else. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like it's going to be here in Pittsburgh, but like.
Yeah.
It's good news all around. I have some other good news though, and it's different on Broad real fast. From what I read, Einachor or whatever, I can't say his name is playing. It looks like he's looks like a football player. Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, I'll tell you what. There was that's funny you say that. He lined up against Watt yesterday, and they were and Highsmith on one-on-ones, and they said he won the battle. Which
Not good.
exactly
Not good for the defense.
Right. Not good. Exactly.
why isn't it
Right.
Candy good for Max? Maybe he's just good.
Maybe the truth. Maybe it's the truth about TJ Watt. What they're saying is that he's maxed him down a bit. That's a win for him, and shows just where the grade is on TJ Watt right now.
Right.
Yeah, they said like his footwork was pretty good. They said Watt tried to go outside on him, and he was able to hold him and actually, he was able to hold Watt enough to kind of them to go behind the quarterback. So the quarterback kind of stepped up into the pocket, and so. And I forget who was in it at quarterback at that point in time. I want to say it was Rodgers, but I'm not sure. We got a couple comments on TikTok here. Steiny's chiming in. He says, "I think he's been a bust." I'm guessing he's referring to Broderick Jones. Are the Steelers going to pick another wide receiver up? That's a good question. What do you guys think? Are they going to pick another wide out up, or I don't see them doing that. I think the wide receiver room's pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're pretty confident in their wide out room. What do you guys think, Keith? What do you think?
I think they really like what they'll have. I mean, you got TJ Metcalf, you got Russell Wilson, who's supposedly got a really good rapport now with Aaron Rodgers, and you got Michael Pittman Jr. What do you need in that wide receiver? There's your top 3 right there. And then you're going to try to integrate 2 tight ends with Freiermuth and with Washington. So where do you put all these receivers? Unless you have an injury, you don't need one. Plus, you got your number 3 draft pick as a receiver too, and they're looking for him as a kick returner and try to bring him along as maybe a number 4 guy. So where are you going to put another receiver in this room when you've got this much invested in DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman already? Where's your money? How much money can you put into that room at this point? I don't see them getting another wide receiver. But back to Broderick Jones. We're talking about him, and he's going to. If he makes the team, he's going to get playing time. There is no doubt about it. At some point in time, they're going to have an injury to an offensive lineman. They're probably going to have an injury to a tackle, and they're going to put him in because he's a number 1 pick. So you're going to get a make or break season out of him, one way or another. He's going to get some playing time, and you're going to see what he's really like, and if that neck injury impacted him, and if he's truly back as a player. So if he avoids getting cut, you're going to see him on the field, and you'll get a really good indicator of whether or not he's going to get an extension or if they're just going to let him walk. Because they could be just playing a wait-and-see game because of the injury. I wouldn't offer him a contract at this point either.
Right. Ed, what do you think?
$5.67 million. They're not getting anybody. They don't have any money. And it's not needed. You had Jeremy Bernard was a second-round pick. So I don't even think it's because Roman Wilson is a mirage. He's just he plays well against air.
Right.
So It's
Well,
gonna for me. I put the rookie in there. He can run the ball. He's your guy from last year, Kenneth Gainwell.
right.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Well, I mean, we're gonna get into Roman Wilson. I know he's been having a good camp. And he what was it? Rogers worked out with the receivers and some of the tight ends
Mm-hmm.
in Wyoming, I think, right before camp here. Like it was
Mhm.
right in between mini camp and training camp. They went to freaking Wyoming of all places. Um, but yeah, I that sounds like a Rogers destination that he
Yeah.
would have picked. But
I've been to Wyoming. You don't want to go
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, it was, yeah, of all places, Wyoming. Whatever. Beautiful view, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they were. He was throwing to them in a field, and they were dodging moose or something like that. So I don't
Bison.
know. Bison, yeah,
Yeah.
bison. So
there. Rocky Mountain oysters on the menu.
There you go.
uh, John, Jr. Did I get to you on your what you? Oh no, I started off with you. God, I'm like
No, it's all right.
I don't know.
Keep going.
Keep
Yeah.
going. You're good.
The wide receivers real fast though. I think Roman Wilson. I know he plays good against air, and they said that, but
Yeah.
he's a big deal though, right? Because them having some sort of confidence in him, I guess, makes that question about going to get a receiver. You don't need to. He's
Right.
he's number 3.
Yeah.
So
All right. Let's switch to secondary depth. Obviously we've talked about, Joey Porter Jr. Asante Samuel Jr. has been lighting it up too. He had an interception yesterday. Um, and he had a couple pass breakups. They were doing 11 on 11, and then they were doing this called 7 shots, where it's basically like a 2-point conversion. And I tell you what, man, he had a couple breakups on that too. Just looking at who we got here, Jalen Ramsey obviously still on the pup list. I don't know. I mean, he's that knee injury. He injured that knee in minicamp, and now it's still kind of, you know, um, giving him some trouble. But how about Rayshawn Jenkins? How about them cutting Savage and signing this Rayshawn Jenkins? What do you guys take on this guy? Ed, I want to start off with you.
It was a good signing. And don't forget, Asante Samuel was only released because of injury history. He's a very good defensive back for the Chargers. I mean, very good. So I don't think there's a problem there. Ramsey, he's going to be in some trouble because what is he? Samuel's more of a slot. Smaller guy, able to get through. Ramsey's no longer a lockdown corner.
Right.
So maybe he plays a little bit of time at safety. Maybe they have a package and he goes in there in his own. Unfortunately, the Steelers are lacking depth because of JPJ's horrific back injury. That was the worst they've ever seen since the massive car wreck. But I think it's a good signing and it'll help with their depth, absolutely. But Asante Samuel, I'm not surprised by what he's doing because he's a good defensive back.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I agree. You're right. I mean, when he was with the Chargers, it was because of injury. Like you said, they let him go. It wasn't because of performance. So, Jr., what do you think about secondary depth and what do you think about this Jenkins?
Well, looking at him, I was looking at the numbers because I off the top of my head, but
right.
pretty good. Jacksonville had
Yeah.
some good years. I mean, he 116 tackles, 101, 73, 84 with the Chargers. So good, nice pickup for sure. Good signing. I like Brandon Echols. That's somebody I always look at because I remember him with the Jets a little bit. Guy's pretty good, quietly good. And I noticed in camp, I was reading some stuff. He's a couple interceptions, and that's a good player. It's funny with the Steelers. I'm looking at their depth chart. Just looking, and I look at the second half of it, not the starters. And I look at, I see Asante Samuel, I see Echols, I see my guy sitting there, Jack Sawyer, I see a bunch of people. I really like those backup. Like the backup part of it makes me feel like this should be a good this should be good. And then I go to the other part, and it's like, ah, shit, these guys are still kind of old. They're old, you know. He's making 100 million. He's not really getting to the quarterback anymore. But I want Watt to be Watt. So, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I look at that second part of this depth chart, and I'm like, man, this is pretty good. And then I get to the first part, and I feel like it's under achieving. But I like Brandon Eccles a lot. That's my guy. That is is it when it comes to depth, I like him. I think he's really good, actually.
Yeah. Keith, what's your take on the secondary depth? What are you thinking?
I think they're going to be looking for somebody after the cut down dates. I think at
Yeah.
some point in time you're gonna look at what you got. You're gonna cut a couple of these guys. You're gonna get maybe one under the where you want to be. Then you're gonna bring somebody in. I just they're gonna want one more guy. That's just how they are. That's how they've operated for a long time. Now maybe it's different with Mike McCarthy, but Omar Khan has been kind of consistent with that. You know, bringing that guy at the last minute to kind of throw him into the mix to see what happens. And I think that's what you're going to have with those. So I'm just going to play a wait and see game with the defensive backfield until at least through the first couple preseason games.
Right. Well, I can tell you one thing that this defensive coordinator that they got now, Patrick Graham, he's been adamant on moving guys around. I mean, this is not a secondary issue, but T.J. Watt, you know, should have been moved around, in recent years, and really wasn't. And Miles Garrett always was moved around for matchups. I mean, he was always moved around. Schwartz always had him at different, lining up differently, continuously. And
Yeah, you
Mike
can add
Tomlin,
J.J. Watt to that. You can add Micah Parsons to that. You can add Max Crosby
right,
to that.
right.
I mean, you got to wonder, was it a question of the defensive coordinator saying that, or was it a question of PJ Watt saying, I don't want him? So
That's true
you got to
too.
wonder which one it was. Now, if
Right.
it was a defensive coordinator, then that all went out the door with Mike Tomlin, which is a good thing,
Right.
because then you might have TJ Watt maybe being more energized this year, maybe have a little bit more to say because in fact you can move him around and get him off of that, just get him off the opposing team's right tackle at all times, and doing the two moves to get him into the quarterback, let him kind of do his thing maybe a little bit better.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends on how it works out.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, we're hearing like that they want to be more innovative. They want to do different things. I mean, listen. McCarthy's an offensive first guy, coach. I think he's going to let Patrick Graham do what Patrick Graham wants to do. I think Patrick Graham. I think he's a decent coordinator. But I think McCarthy's going to be hands off in this defense. From what we hear, Tomlin had his hands in the defense, and I don't know for a defensive guy, it didn't really pan out to much of anything. I mean, at least in recent years. So hopefully that's going to change. I would say in general, I'm just looking forward to just a change in philosophy because we know like philosophy that shapes how the team the trajectory of the team, and I just think that you know I just think it's going to be a better. I think it's going to be a better season this year. I really do. I'm optimistic. I'm kind of cautiously optimistic though because there's some certain things that kind of I still have questions on, but we shall see. Right? I mean, this is why we pay close attention and cover this stuff because a lot of times in preseason, well, definitely in the regular season, but sometimes in preseason you get some of these questions answered. So, but I listen. I like Brisker. That's another guy I like. I've been hearing things, when I've been listening to these broadcasts on Steeler Nation Radio. I've been hearing his name a lot. I mean, there's been Deshaun Elliott is another guy you've been hearing a lot about. Asante Samuel. So I think there's some decent depth,
Mm-hmm.
in their secondary, but I don't know. It's just kind of like it's not. We got to see more here. So, all right, let's talk Roman Wilson. I know we touched on him a little bit, but let's go to a little in depth more with him. So he's been a standout in camp so far. Um, he's really been. I mean, and again, Jr. You alluded to he's going against air. I mean, now they did. This has they got 2 days in the books for tackling, and I know we're gonna. That's another topic for discussion that we want to cover. You know, McCarthy's no tackling to the ground policy, but he's been a standout. And and they've been saying that he's been a high volume target for a lot of these team drills and these 11-on-11s that they've been doing. And I tell you what, they had this as I was saying, they did that 7 shots, and the Monday they did it, and they had it was Rogers had the first three, Rudolph had two, and then it was 1-on-1. It was Alar with a chance, and then Will Howard. And I think out of those 7 shots, I think Roman Wilson, I think caught three in the back of the end zone. So he's been targeted, a ton. I don't know. Ed, you asked. I'm going to start off with you because you asked the question: Is it gonna continue? Is this going to translate into regular season? Because you can look good in shorts and in helmets. I mean now they're in pads now, but until the bullets start flying, so to speak, that's when you really get the real gist the things, right?
Correct. He's not an elite wide receiver, obviously. And to defend him somewhat, he's had many different quarterbacks, and it's been kind of a nightmare. However, other receivers have still flourished under that. So, does he do well against air? Yes. I can't believe the messages from camp. Now he's a trusted agent of Aaron Rodgers. I don't believe that. I mean, there's no real defense being played. So I don't believe that at all. And the proof will be in the pudding. He's a second-round pick. Is he going to be added to the list of busts for the Steelers organization? They're a horrific drafting record at this point. I mean, it's been horrible since 2017. So how long is this maturation process going to take?
Yeah,
is the other question.
Right. Very good question, Keith. What do you think? What do you think, Roman Wilson? Is it where it's too early?
I think he's on the bubble. He really is. He could be their number 3, or he could be cut. I don't think there's either way on this at this point in time. Because if you look at him, when he's healthy, he's been given opportunities and has never really been the cream to come to the top.
Right.
He's just kind of been there, milquetoast, make a couple of catches, drop one here and there. He hasn't really taken the mantle when it's been given to him.
Right.
Now they're giving it to him. And he's going to be the option, aside from DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman Jr., he's your number 3. And if he cannot get the job done, he's going to be yanked faster than anything, faster than a Wile E. Coyote on a slingshot. So that's going to be the way it's going to work with him. It just is. Right. He has to be beyond reproach in this camp. Right. He has to walk into the season as the number 3, walked into that position. And if he's not, I think they cut him.
Yeah. And, Jeremy Bernard, I haven't really – I mean, there's been a little bit – you've heard a little bit about him. Not like you've heard with Roman Wilson, but – those guys, hey, they're in the battle with that number 3 slot position, and I don't know. Roman Wilson's injury history. I mean, last year was basically his rookie season last year,
right?
And last year he was not anything to write home about. And this year there's high expectations, and they're saying, oh, he's been training with Rodgers. He's been doing well. That's all well and good, but I mean. I mean, it's we need to see what he does, here in preseason, and that's going to be the real litmus test. What do you think, Jr.?
Yeah, I mean, a lot like Broderick Jones. I mean, this is a huge year. This is a huge year for him.
Right.
If he wants to make money, if he wants to be whatever, if he's good enough, if he's got the talent. Like I think of Buffalo a little bit with Keon Coleman. He's a guy that's kind of very similar stuff, but more with him, it's his attitude. He doesn't show up. He sleeps in. He doesn't go to practice. He's kind of a problem like that. I don't know if that's not what this guy is. So if he's good
No.
enough, man, this is a great year. He's got everything. You got McCarthy, you got offense, you got another wide. You're the number 3. You got Aaron Rodgers. You got everything. You got 2 good running backs. This is a year to make money for him. This is a huge year, I think, because if he doesn't, where does he end up? I mean, he'll just be fighting to be on rosters, and then who knows? So this is it. What a huge year.
Um, agreed. Hey, I want to just interject one thing here. Um, Boswell has just been lighting it up, and I know, but they've been doing this 11 on 11, and if a drive stalls, he's out there. And the other day, yesterday, he kicked a 57-yarder, and I mean, it was right down the middle. And they said that it was. They said it was so right down the middle that they had a camera pole positioned right behind the goalpost, like you know, dead nuts in the middle of the goalpost. And he said, and it was back far too. And they said he hit it. He literally hit it. Um, he had room to spare on that 57 yarder is what I'm meaning. But he's been like they've been he's been nailing stuff left and right. And we talked about this before. I'm so glad that they got him signed, and he's been
He is
just
the
such
kicker,
a
though, right?
huh.
He is the kicker, right?
He is correct.
It's his
Yeah.
job. So,
Well, I know that. I know that's his job, but I'm just saying he's good at his job. How about that?
One of the best. Yes. Definitely.
One of the best. Yeah. Hey, listen. The
I like him.
2020. Yeah. Well, 2024. Atlanta. Do you guys remember that game where he kicked 5 field goals? I mean, and won the freaking game. He was the only points. He scored the only points that day. I mean, there's just been how many times has he bailed them out? you know. And I just wanted to throw it out there. So, all right, let's talk about these practices and just the shorter, intense practices. Mike McCarthy has said, it's noticeably shorter. And I'll tell you another thing that I like about it. Last year and in the years past, they weren't getting out to practice till 2, 3 in the afternoon. Which I just to me that's I don't know, that's crazy. But I guess Tomlin liked to do he liked to do film study in the morning and practice in the mid afternoon, mid to late afternoon really. Um, McCarthy's not like that. He's an early riser. He gets out there. Their practices have been averaging from like starting at 11 to 10:30 in the morning. You're having faster paced. He said, "Hey, it's conditioned by sports science," which hey, analytics, they're here to stay, folks. Newsflash, right? You know, in recent years, you had the long, nonstop live tackling marathons of the Mike Tomlin era. Where they just would backs on backers, right? They would do all that stuff, and he's like, nope, nope, we're not doing that. Shorter durations, they've been going usually around 105 minutes. And he said it's the ramp up here. Like Monday when they went in pads, the guys were wearing the pads more than they were actually using them, from what I understand. But he said, hey, that's the ramp up period, and it's the modern analytic of the workload data that they get, and hey, listen, he uses the science, so which not something we're accustomed to when Mike Tomlin was at the helm. But and the other thing, no live tackling. I mean, listen, there's hits. Okay, they're still blocking. Don't get it twisted, folks. They're still blocking. They're still, they're just not tackling to the ground. Ed, you know this, because you listen to him. Pat Kerwin, what did he always say? Pat Kerwin from Sirius NFL Radio. What did he always say when he would go around to the 32 teams? They would visit all 32 camps. What was the one ththing he said about the Steelers?
most physical camp in the league.
Correct. They tackle to the ground, And, Mike McCarthy's like, you know what? We're going to eliminate this traditional live to the ground tackling. We're going to keep our veterans healthy. We're going to rely instead on high tempo position drills. And, furthermore, no standing around. They removed the field benches to keep the players active and moving between reps. And, the focus is, hey, maintain intensity and, an up tempo pace. And, so far, so good. So, Keith, tackle this one first. No pun intended.
I see the pluses and minuses of the not tackling to the ground, but this is also a team that has not tackled well in recent years. Doesn't wrap up well. So if you're going to have no tackling to the ground, you better have extremely good technique that you're teaching these guys so that they can tackle to the ground once it's a live ball, once it's a real game. Otherwise, you're just getting them ready for the National Flag Football League after they get cut or when they miss the playoff. So, one way or another, I mean, these guys have to learn how to tackle and have to have the tackling techniques down pat once the season starts. Are the preseason games enough for that? I guess we'll see. But the idea of not having players tackle to the ground and not being able to wrap guys up, I'm still a little. I don't want to say I'm ambivalent about it, but I'm a little skeptical about it. I guess we'll see if the proof is in the pudding once this season actually starts.
Well, and you're right. I mean, and it's funny you said that about technique. I mean, you hit the nail right on the head because I was listening the other day and they interviewed Cam Hayward and they asked him. They said, you've been, this is his 17th year with the Steelers, and they said, what now that you don't have live tackling in camp, you've been used to it for your entire career. What do you have to do to what do you have to do now that live tackling's not there anymore? And he said exactly what you said. He said, I got to work on my technique and I got to stretch my technique, which I'm not really sure what he meant by stretch your technique. I mean, I don't know. I was a little bit puzzled. If I was interviewing him, I would have been like, hey, yeah, explain that to me. What's it mean to stretch your technique?
I think he could have said sharpen instead of stretch. It would probably been a better word. Or hone his technique would be a better term than what stretch. Sometimes guys just come up with a word off the top of their heads, and it's like it's not completely out of context. They're looking for something else in the interview situation and can't come up with it. So, I think he just needs to hone his technique a little bit better and make sure it's more precise.
Well, you're right. Maybe he actually meant to say sharpen. I didn't think of that. Maybe that was a little word salad. So. Ed, your take, because I know you're a mixed emotion guy with this. Part of you is like, hey, yeah. I mean, listen, yeah, I'm 46. I played football. I couldn't imagine, playing football back in the day and going to camp in August and our coach being like, hey guys, this camp we're not going to tackle. I mean, that would have been like, no.
No, we all did that. We all went through the 2 days when we played. It saves the bodies. But to Keith's point, they have not been a good tackling team. No. Maybe their objective is LA 2028. We don't know. But you have to learn how to tackle. You have to learn how to bring it to the ground. You have to build calluses like we talk all the time. So, again, Keith's point, proof is in the pudding. We'll see. We'll see game one. Atlanta.
Right. Yep.
When Bijan comes
JR.
I mean, Patrick Queen.
I know, and he's got a new contract, and that guy's, yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Patrick Queen said he was terrible.
Ahead,
he said he was terrible last year. He was everything was bad. I heard he was talking about how bad he was. About not going downhill and all this stuff. So. I mean, and McCarthy talks about, technique, just like Keith said, technique. It's all about the footwork. It's being where you got to be at the right time, all that. A lot of these guys, though, I got to be honest with you. I mean, they've been tackling for a long time. If they don't know how to tackle now, if now they need to be sharpened, holy God, what is going on here, man? I mean, how long has Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, I'll go down the list. How long have they been tackling for? Since they were 10?
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
So
And you,
Yeah, but a lot of these guys don't know how to tackle properly. If you
Right.
watch these guys, they're all about hitting with the shoulder. They're all about hitting a driving hit with the body. They're not about wrapping guys up. So if you're going to sit there and not tackle guys to the ground in training camp, what are you going to do when the game starts? You're not going to be able. You're not going to know how to wrap a guy, because when you get a 230-pound running back coming at you and you got to wrap him,
yeah,
and you can't because you don't know how to tackle the guy to the ground, you're going to try to shoulder him, and what's going to happen is he's going to run you over and keep on going. So that's going to
Right.
be really interesting to see what happens with that, because that's something you have to practice. If you just got a big running back coming at you and you haven't been tackling all year, so you're not going to have the timing on when to wrap him up, or you're going to try to go low on him or something like that. So it's going to be those are things you should be practicing. Now, whether or not that's
what'll be interesting, Keith,
Yeah.
I wonder, is if it'll cause more injuries. If it'll
could.
actually cause more injuries than you're hoping to, not have in training camp. But if you're first tackling someone for the first time, like Bijan Robinson, I guess my point would maybe that would cause an injury instead of save it.
I don't know. Granted, I didn't play pro football, but Ed, you and I talked about this before. What was the one thing that I used to tell you about my football coach? He said, if you're standing around not going full tilt, that's when you get hurt.
It's true.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah,
also
I
back
played
then
small
they
ball.
taught
not to get hurt, you get hurt.
last time
Right.
back then, and when I played, they taught us to tackle with our head though. Also, they told me to put the head on the ball. And I'm 55.
Yeah.
When I was playing head ball, that's what they wanted.
Yeah.
Yep.
So thank God
Right.
things have changed a bit.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on here. Rodgers might play a little bit in the preseason. What do you think about this? I don't know.
I like
Is this him saying he wants to do it, or is this McCarthy saying, "Hey, I want you to"? What do you guys think? I mean, I think. Listen, they were together 13 years. Now, is there a little bit, probably some nuances that are different from when he played in Green Bay? Sure. Uh, you know, is it maybe, hey, I want to get some timing, game speed, fundamentals? Maybe I have a new receiver in Michael Pittman that want to see how when the bullets are flying live here in preseason. I want to see is our timing good, and things like that. Um, to me though, it's kind of an unnecessary injury risk. And at 42 years old, going to be 43 in December. Taking hits in meaningless August games carries a high risk with minimal reward.
I disagree with you 100% on this, and here's why.
Okay.
If you watch the Steelers the last 10, 12 years,
Yeah.
how many times did they come out slow? How many times do you watch that first half of that first game, and you can tell that first team offense hadn't seen the field together the entire preseason. They hadn't played together at all. They were completely out of sync. Whether it was Roethlisberger, whether it was Rudolph, Duck Hodges, it didn't matter. They were completely lost during the first half of the first game, and it really never got into sync until about the third or fourth game of the season.
Right.
So when you're looking at this team and saying, Aaron Rodgers says, I want to go out and play 40 snaps, yeah, please, go out and play a couple of series. Get yourself in the game. Get yourself a little bit of game action. Get hit a couple of times. Hopefully not get hurt, but get hit a couple of times. And get a feel for the game and get a feel for your teammates, so that when you go out in week one and when you play Atlanta, it doesn't look like you're on the field for the first time together.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm mixed emotion about it. I kind of see, Ben always did that. Ben would go, Ben would usually get a couple series in preseason. Sometimes he did it. Sometimes he didn't. I know that there was a couple years.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean,
and look what he looked like when he came out of the chute. He was god awful for like 3 games.
Crap.
And I see your point on that. I mean, I get it. Who wants, I mean, is it McCarthy and Rodgers sat down and said, hey, mutually let's have you play a little bit. Let's do 30 or 40 snaps. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's Rodgers saying, hey, I need to develop some time with Michael Pittman's new, and I need to develop some time with these guys. What do you think, Ed?
I'm with Keith on this. You have to
Okay.
have live repetitions. The only way you get better
Yeah.
at football is playing football.
Play football.
So
Yeah.
I mean, you
So
go back to the Chuck Noll era. What he would do is one series in the first, he'd do like the first quarter of the first game, first half of the second game, first 3 quarters of the third game, and sit them for the fourth game. That was what he did with his starters through 4 games. And hey, it worked. He knew what he was doing. So, it just seems like you need to have that progression and have that starting quarterback in there and have your starters in there to kind of build towards the season. And that fourth game that you don't have anymore was just for kind of the rookies and the guys on the bubble to kind of show what they had. And I think you need to have that cohesion of that starting offense for at least a few series during the preseason, or else you're going to come out flat in game one, and you're going to wonder why you lost 31-14.
yeah. Right. Jr.
Yeah, I would say with all the freshness of getting rid of Tomlin, it's kind of good. Let him play, maybe get some energy out of it, get some good feelings going with your offense. Just score. Let's see what Roman Wilson can do with Rodgers throwing to him and all that stuff. I think there's no harm. I like it, and I think that's just it should be different, and it will be. It's gonna be like a breath of fresh air.
You heard it first here, folks. All right. Let's. We said, folks, we said we were going to be heavy Steelers. Boy, we weren't kidding. 51 minutes in, we're still we actually didn't even talk about the run game. But you know what? We're it's a Pittsburgh sports show, not a Steelers show. Let's shift gears here a little bit. Let's talk Pirates. Well, you know what? Any final thoughts on the Steelers? I'll go around. Anybody got anything?
Not until they play a preseason game.
Right. No, yeah, and I'm with you. I think I do these shorts on TikTok and I go over every day of what happened in camp, and sometimes I think, should I actually be really like telling people this stuff? Because I mean, what does it all matter? But I don't know. It in a way it kind of like I think it's just kind of for my amusement. But let's talk Pirates. Top of the fifth, down 3-0 in Milwaukee.
They need Marcelo Zuna back.
oh,
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
Right.
from 2017.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. What do you guys think about the latest acquiring of some of these guys in the trade deadline? I'll start off real quick here. Camilo Duvall does nothing for me. First outing, gives up a home run right off the bat. Right off the bat, gives up a home run.
He fits in.
He fits in exactly. He does fit in. You're right. I was Luke Weaver. I was shocked. I mean, I must say, I was shocked by. I did not think they were going to do that. And I mean, he's. You didn't really give up much, and you didn't really give up much. And the Mets are eating most of his contract. He's got club control through 2027. He's sitting right around a 2 ERA, which isn't bad. And he's. I said it before. Before they even acquired him, I said this is probably the best reliever that's left right now. And they went out and got him, and I was shocked by it. Kirby Yates doesn't do anything for me either. Lake Bachar, I don't know, doesn't really do anything for me either. Listen, these guys like Yates and Duvall are good. Like Duvall is was a former bullpen all-star, and emphasis on was, though. He's been struggling a little bit as of late. It's probably why they were able to get him like they were. But what do you guys think? Keith, lead us off, because I know you probably got some real solid thoughts on what they did.
Look, well, they had to do something.
Right.
There was what they had was not working. Now,
Right.
when you look at their bullpen and how it's managed, that's another topic for another day because
Right.
everybody's got their questions about how Don Kelly manages that bullpen and the innings that they work and how much work they get. And I think he's almost too analytically minded. He doesn't kind of leap beyond the numbers and say, "I have the
Agreed.
intuition to say I'm gonna keep this guy in no matter what the numbers say because what I'm seeing rather than what the numbers are showing me or historically what's going to happen." That goes. That's like I said. That's a topic for another day. But this bullpen was so bad the entire season. And if you want to bring people into PNC Park, and I've been there way too many nights where the announced attendance is 20,000 and they might have 11 there. When you've got people who have tickets who aren't showing up or you're not getting walk-up sales and stuff like that because you don't have the energy in this team right now. You needed to do something to energize the fan base and to get people in the door to watch the baseball team and not the ballpark experience.
Right.
And that was a way where you can say, look, we're trying to bring a winner here. Whether or not it happens or not, we shored up a lot of our shortcomings to try to bring a winner here. And we attacked the biggest problem we had at this moment in time. And they did the best they could at the trade deadline. I give Ben Cherington all kinds of props for what he did. He did what he needed to do, at least on the surface, to make an impression on the fans and to say, okay, maybe they're finally trying to actually do the things that need to be done to get to that next level, to get to the playoffs. Will it work? I don't know. But they're too close to the wild card to have done nothing. The only thing I wish they would have done was get a right-handed bat because they're hitting us lefties. Terrible.
Exactly. I said that last night on my when I went live last night on TikTok. I said I would have liked to see them get a bat against lefties because it's been bad this year. I totally agree. I mean, well said. I agree with everything you said. I thought Charrington did decent. I thought, given what he had, I thought he did decent. Ed, what's your take?
I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Coming to America. It reminded me of McDonald's and McDowell's, right? They were shopped at McDowell's. They did not shop at McDonald's. They shopped at McDowell's. They didn't get the Big Mac. They got the whatever the heck he called
Big Mick.
Right? Big Mick. Yeah. That's what it reminds me of. Technically, it was a success because he addressed all of the issues that they have at the moment. But come on. They shopped at McDowell's. That's where they went. Come on. So.
Well, if they'd have gotten a key with the stick, they'd have been good with that.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. 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 I mean, yeah. Good. Well said, Ed. Very well said. JR.
I mean, we like Luke Weaver a lot. I mean, why? They got a closer. They found a closer. Right. I saw that Evan Sisk is back, and I know he's decent to help out in that bullpen too. I mean, he's one of those. I don't know, man. I'm kind of disappointed. I just saw the score tonight, and Skeens didn't pitch. I mean, something's wrong, obviously, and I don't know what it is. But
they've needed him to step up all season, and I hate to say it, folks, just has not done it.
Something's wrong, man. I don't know what it is. Well, something has to. This just makes
the velocity.
Yeah.
I mean, he's missing 2 or 3 mile per hour on his fastball that he hasn't been able to find. There's just, I mean, what
that usually means is something that it might be required surgery. I don't know. Something usually ain't right when you're dry. That just doesn't make sense. Why would that happen? Why would you fall off? How could that fall off like that?
New pitching coach. New pitching coach who's got slightly different delivery, slightly different arm angles and things like that. That'll trip him up, and that'll take that velocity off. And if you follow the Pirates for years, the one thing their coaches have a tendency to do is nitpick. They get coaches who come in and say, "I want to do certain things my way," and normally it does not end up well.
Right.
I'm just saying, that's just the Pirates' history. They've brought in enough hitting coaches who've screwed up good hitters in the past. They've brought in pitching coaches who've screwed up good pitchers in the past, and maybe this is the case of that.
Yeah. let's talk. What do we think they need to do? I mean, we've got what 47 games left. What record do they need to get to in order to in order to get a solid wild card spot? You're only what 3.5 games out, I believe. I'm sorry, they got 48 games remaining. Um, the first number that came to my mind was 28-20. Okay, and then I got to thinking about it, and I'm like looking at all these other teams that you're in chase with. I got to be honest with you. You might want to go 31-17 at this point in time.
I was thinking
Especially
30. I was thinking 30 and 18.
yeah, because I
Maybe
mean
something
you got these teams like Arizona and St. Louis that are nipping at your heels and are, and I think 30, yeah, or 30-18, Keith, or 31-17. I think it's a much safer target. That kind of would get you in.
This is the thing, though. One of those teams that's chasing them, or one of the teams ahead of them, is going to go on a run. One of these teams is going to get a 7, 8, 9 game winning streak that's either going to blow past the Pirates or they're going to pull away from them. So that's why they need to play about 12 games over to get into the playoffs. You need that margin of error. You need to play at least 10, I say at least 10 games over 500 to get into the playoffs because somebody is going to go on a tear. And hey, who says it can't be the Pirates at this point in time? They've got the offense. If they can put their starting pitching back together, and with the revamped bullpen, they could do it.
Well, they need to split this. It's a 4-game series in Milwaukee. I mean, I know it's there's still some baseball to play tonight. It's 3-0, but they need to split this series. At least do that. How the hell you weren't able to take how the hell you let Cincinnati take 3 out of 4, the last place team? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how Well, I do know how actually. It's, but Ed, what do you think?
Honestly, they have to be in the 90s. They really do, because this just in, every team's going to throw every left-hander they have in the cards because they're awful.
Oh yeah.
Until they fix that, that's all they're going to get.
Well, that's a good point. Hey, exactly. Hey guys, we're going to start our lefties because we know they can't hit lefties.
Yep. We just brought this kid up from the mud hens. We're going to throw him out there. That's what I would do.
He's in the California Penal League. We got him. He's left-handed. He's good to go.
And at this level, we wear shirts and caps.
Lou Brown, go love him, huh?
Love him.
Yeah. So you don't think? So you think 90? You're saying 88's not going to cut it?
No. Not with the
I was
landscape.
hoping 87 too.
No.
I was hoping 87.
No, it's got to be 91 to 92.
Yeah.
That might be too much. That's
It's a tough. They've done it to themselves.
Playoffs aren't supposed. It's not supposed to be easy to make the playoffs in baseball, unless you're the Dodgers. That's supposed to be it's a cakewalk. But you just load on payroll and bring on more players. But that's what too. So for the Pirates, it's not going to be easy to make the playoffs. You need a 90-win season to do it, and
right.
you got to.
Well, and in this division, let alone this division, you need that. I mean, it's been pretty dominant. I mean, hey, Milwaukee's good this year. The Cubs have played well. And there's just been a lot of like I said, St. Louis is they've been coming on strong lately. So, let's talk a little bit before we close here. I know we're running a little over, but Don Kelly, just real quick, there's some things that I don't like about Don Kelly, and I agree with you, Keith, wholeheartedly. Well, you know what, Jr. Let me get your take on record wise. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to skip you over there, buddy.
No, it's okay. I wrote down 87 wins, and I'm coming away from this feeling like it's not going to work out then if it's got to be 91 or 92. Yeah. That's tough, but I had 87 I wrote down. I hope that they can back their way in and make it.
Right.
Yeah.
Don Kelly, and Keith, I agree with what you said. Analytics, he's too much in the weeds with analytics. Here's the deal with Donnie Kelly, and I said this last night on my live broadcast on TikTok, and I had some comments that agreed with me. It's one thing to be an analytics guy, But I think when you played at a in the majors, and Don Kelly played 9 years in the majors. Um, I think I don't know. When you've played that long, I think your gut instincts should outweigh analytics at times. Don't get me wrong. I think there's times where analytics play a role in how pitching matchups, certain things like that. You know, but I think you're like, I just think gut instinct is what you rely on. You know, that's just my take on the whole
Well,
thing.
I agree with that. I think when you look at the best managers in baseball history, you can look at the last 15, 20 years. How many great managers have there been?
Right.
And when you look at like a Dave Roberts or something like that, yeah, he's got analytics, but he's also got a $300 million payroll.
Mhm.
So, it makes your decisions look really good when you have that kind of backing and you have that kind of bench and you have that kind of those kind of starters. But when you
Yeah.
look at, I think Moneyball was the worst thing that ever happened. I really do. I think it was a great thing for the A's. But when everybody started doing it, then it became less about originality and creativity and about moving into form. But what you need to do is, if you're a baseball guy, you become innovative again. And your innovation is to go away from the analytics and go back to maybe old school baseball and say,
Yeah.
we're going to bring a coach, a manager who's going to manage by the seat of his pants, do a Tony La Russa, do a Jim Leland, be a Whitey Herzog or Chuck Tanner or any of those old school guys who were able to win before analytics, who understood the game, who could look at a pitcher and say, that guy is going to have a great outing. This guy sitting on the bench he's been killing it in the cage this week. I can feel he's going to go. I'm going to put him in as a pinch hit role. Instead of saying, oh my God, why are you pinching a lefty against a lefty? I got a feeling. How many times have you had a manager say the words, I've got a feeling? It's
Right.
never, I've got a feeling. It's always, the analytics said to do this. If the computer's running your team, then just step off the bench because you don't need to beat them. And I say that about every manager in baseball. If you're just letting the computer run your team, then just play it as a simulator on your game console because you're not managing the team. The computer is. If you're going to manage the team and manage the personalities and manage who's hot and who's not, you've got to have kind of an idea of what you're doing. And maybe what baseball needs to do is get away from the analytics a lot more and move back towards guys who play the game, who understand the game, who look at the guys and say, yeah, that guy's going to be really hot. I can feel it. I made the switch in line because I just felt like he was going to do really well. You never hear a coach say that anymore. You never hear a manager say that anymore. It's always about the analytics setup for this guy.
Yeah, and I think like the last of the good non-analytic managers that we in recent years have been like your Buck Showalters, your Bruce Bochy's, your Joe Maddens, maybe your Dusty Bakers as well. He wasn't an analytics guy. I mean,
Gary Francona.
Gary Francona. Yeah. You know, maybe Dusty analyzed the amount of toothpicks that he needed before when he went into a game. But that's about it. But no, I mean I've said that all along. Like it's just Donnie Kelly is too far in the weeds with these damn analytics. He's let it get the best of him. And and he got ejected last night. I mean, wow, this guy he has the most ejections right now in Major League Baseball. I mean, he's just he argued field safety and official delays in a game against Cincinnati Reds against the Reds. He got tossed for arguing with the umpires. They said he should have used a tarp rather than forcing a lengthy delay. I mean, he's argued with, he's gotten ejected a lot, and I like it, but on the one hand, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like, come on, like I'll give you a good example too. You know, when he pulled Bubba Chandler, you remember that July doubleheader against the Yankees? Bubba Chandler, he pitched like a little over 6 strong innings with 5 strikeouts. He only gave up like 2 hits. Kelly pulled him out of caution after a couple base runners. Turned into the bullpen. Which what happened? Jr. You and I were talking about this because it was against the Yankees. He surrendered 2 runs in the 2-0 loss.
He pulled a guy with a perfect game.
Right.
Yeah,
And that was my thing. I'm like, what are we doing here? And that was like my moment that I was like, okay, this is kind of like you've done this a lot of times here, and
the one manager that I've noticed, and it's because I hear him a lot from where I live, is John Schneider with the Blue Jays. And they talk to him about how he deals with the analytics. And he says he tries to go 50-50, but more his stomach. He likes to go with his gut. And I noticed that last year he did. And he's doing it this year, and it's not so successful. He reminds me of one of those older guys, one of the kind that does it that way. So, I mean, there's a few. Sometimes Kevin Cash, I wonder. Because, God, how does he keep doing so well with the Rays? I don't understand it. Payroll's low, and they keep doing things. But it was just in my mind. I guess John Schneider reminded me of an old school type that I would remember in the past.
Yeah. Ed, any thoughts on Kelly before we move on to the Riverhounds?
Well, I have to defend him. He's a Mount Lebanon guy. When I live in Mount Lebanon, he's awesome.
He's a Point Park guy. I was listening to him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they're never going to be better until they get rid of the owner. Come on. We can talk all day long. We make this podcast 17 hours until they get rid of the owner.
Oh, okay. I should have got that because you said it twice, but
I did 4 times actually.
four times. You're right. Yeah. No, that's I'm. Yeah, I mean, right? That's the elephant in the room, right? I mean, we know. Yeah. So, but all right. Any other? I don't. Do we have any other topics on the Pirates? I don't think we did.
No.
Okay. Let's move on to the Riverhounds, guys. Big win in Oakland, right? Elliot Goldthorpe, 20th minute, hits strikes pay dirt. Now you got Sacramento FC coming in. What do you think? You think maybe this win in Oakland? Because we were there. The last home game. Rob Vincent was not happy. He was not happy at all.
Well, you compare the two teams. Sacramento probably just beat Jacksonville 5-0. Right. So it's a good win. It's not a great win because they just can't score at all.
Yeah.
I said this to someone last game, and it holds true. You just went out and got the striker you from the Seattle Sounders and MLS first. Then you've got Trevor Ammon, you've got Albert Dequa. But the one thing this team is missing more than anything is a King Kenny. You need a Kennardo Forbes to get these guys the ball, and they do not have a passer of that ilk to be able to get the ball into the dangerous positions so that they can score. So what you're stuck with, you have 3 strikers. One of Trevor Ammon won a Golden Boot in 2023 in I think it was in USL 1 or something like that. You had Dequa who won a Golden Boot in USL. The last time he was here, he had 20 goal season. And you got this guy from the Sounders who scored 32 goals last year.
Right.
For his team. You've got guys who can put the ball in the net, but you don't have anybody that can feed it to them.
Yep.
So unless you address the elephant in the room, which is you either need to get Kennardo Forbes out of retirement and hope he's ready to go and can still put a ball on somebody's foot, or you go out and find somebody right now who can do that, you are going to have these problems. You've got 3 guys that can finish. You've got 3 finishers and no setup guy.
Yep. How old is Kennardo Forbes, by the way?
He's about 38. 36 or 38.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Like, I agree. You got to get them the ball. I mean, that's we how many times have we said that in the booth? A lot.
Many of
Not,
them.
A lot. I mean, you just don't. They don't know how to find somebody. You don't have a guy who can pass like him. I mean, yeah, he's the greatest assist guy in league history, in team history, and in league history. But then you don't have anybody there now who can do that. You don't have Robbie Mertz is good, but he's not that kind of a passer.
no.
Yeah, Danny Griffin's okay in the midfield, but he's not that kind of passer. Neither is Paul. None of these guys are. Junior Etche, you just don't have guys that can set him on. Now, Perrin Barnes is the team leader in assists. I think he has 4. But he's an outside guy. He's not a midfielder who's going to come in and hit a cutter.
Right.
They don't have that.
Agreed. I agree. That's we've been seeing that all year. So I don't have Ed. Do you have the standings? Where's Sacramento sitting? They're like at 5th. I want to say in the West.
I think they're a little higher.
Yeah, they might be higher.
Okay. Okay.
Tell you.
Do you think maybe that win in Oakland might spark something, guys?
No.
I don't either. It was a 1-0. It was, it wasn't like a commanding win. You know what I mean?
The only thing you take out of that it was a close win on grass.
Yeah.
Because a grass field's going to slow the ball down, and they're going to have to play at a slower pace. And FNB Stadium is a fast turf field, and it's a small field, which is supposed to work into their advantage. It has not this year.
That's not. Yeah. I agree.
We'll be there though.
Yep.
We will be there. We will be there. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
Nope.
Keith, where can everybody find you at?
You can find me at KBarnes_PG on Twitter.
Nice. All right. Any final thoughts, gentlemen? We went over tonight, but hey, it was fun. It was fun.
Next week we can talk about Pitt football because I'll be down to practice the next couple of days. So.
Awesome. Well, yeah, because I want to get into that because I know they just started today. Today was
just started today. I was on a media day today. So.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Yeah. So, awesome stuff. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Everybody on TikTok. God, we had about 403 followers on TikTok, so that's pretty good. Watching this right now. So, awesome stuff. Hey. Next week, this is our first time doing it on TikTok. Comment. If there's something you want us to cover, by all means, throw it out there. If you have a comment, you want to add your 2 cents, that's why we're here. We do this show for you folks. So, like I said, if you have something you want to add or something you want us to cover, just drop us a comment, and we'd greatly appreciate it. Give us a follow. If you were watching tonight and aren't following us, please give us a follow, and we'd greatly appreciate it. Gentlemen, as always, it was awesome. We'll be back next week. We'll have to talk about next week, I'm sure, ramping up for the night before the first preseason game. So we'll see. We'll have a lot to talk about. We'll have a full week in of padded practice that we, discuss. I'm sure. We'll talk some Pirates and see what they can do here in the next coming couple series, and a lot to talk about. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.
I didn't sound stupid.
No, not at all.
No, it still says we're live.